Hello, I'm Phoenix City Council Member Carlos Garcia with District 8. We will never replace in-person teaching, but during these trying times, our children still need to continue to learn. The City of Phoenix is proud to partner with both the Osborne and Roosevelt school districts to bring you PHXTV Classroom Study Hall. Youth and education is a priority for Phoenix. That's why the city is bringing you the study hall to your home during this next hour right here on Phoenix TV. Learning should never stop, so get ready for class. Here's the study hall.
Welcome artists, it's me, Miss Chavez, artist and art educator from South Phoenix. In our first art lesson, we created nature mandalas using items found around the house or in nature. We're going to keep with the same theme and use items only found around the house. I know many of us have limited art supplies at home, so naturally, as artists, we problem solve. So for this art lesson, we're going to be making paper flowers out of newspaper. So come on, let's get started. Some of the first paper ever created was found in ancient China, around the early 2nd century. It was a cheaper and more convenient material than what was previously being used, which was bamboo, wood, or silk. The invention of paper helped to spread literature. Later came the use of paper for packaging items, paper money, and of course, paper art. These are some of the oldest paper flowers found in a Buddhist temple. This type of paper then made its way to Mexico. Aztecs and Mayans in Mexico were already creating paper from a fiber called amate, made out of tree bark. Still to this day, a small town in Mexico, San Pablito, still uses this traditional process to create beautiful works of art using paper from tree bark. A few decades later, a brightly colored thin paper, tissue paper, arrived in Mexico and was soon used to create beautiful works of art, including paper flowers. Now they can be seen on altars during festivals like Dia de los Muertos, or for weddings, photo backdrops, and other types of art. Flowers have always been a great way to decorate, but they can get expensive and sometimes they die really fast. Some of the first Mexican paper flowers were used as decoration and mainly inside of churches. For our project, you will need minimal materials. You will need newspaper. You can use the grocery store ads that come in the mail or the Sunday paper if you have it. Some sort of tying device. You can use a rubber band, string, bread tie, or if you happen to have it, a pipe cleaner. Scissors can also be used, but they are not necessary. You can use ripping and tearing for the cutting part. Step 1. Cut or tear your newspaper into the same sizes. Step 2. Stack them on top of each other. Step 3. Begin folding your newspaper back and forth. You will use a fold, crease, and flip and repeat to finish this step. Similar to an accordion. Step 4. Tie the center. Whatever your tying device, mine is a string. Hold down the center, I got some help, and tie just like you would your shoe. Step 5. Cut your edges into a curved shape. This step is optional if you have scissors, or if you want to take the time to rip and tear, you can also do that. Step 6. You will begin pulling each paper apart from the end towards the center. Do this to both sides. If you happen to tear a couple, it's okay, no big deal. Once you have pulled all your papers away from each other on each side, step 7, shape and fluff to create the look you want. Great job, artists. Not only are you creating art, but you are recycling. Recycling is the process of converting waste material into new materials and objects. Did you know recycling 1 ton of paper saves 20 trees, 7,000 gallons of water, 3 cubic yards of landfill space, 60 pounds of pollutants, and enough energy to power the average home for 6 months. Here are some examples of art that I found online created by using recycled objects. There are many other amazing paper art forms you can check out. Here are 2, origami and papel picado. Here is a famous artist known for her paper artwork. She creates papel picado and her name is Hermina Romero. You can check out more of her artwork, or if you have more questions about paper art or the history of art making, please do your research, Google, YouTube, or visit your local library online to get more information. Great job, artist. I really enjoyed working with you. And remember, please send me photos or questions at my email address at vanessachavezart@gmail.com. Till next time, peace and love, Miss Chavez.
Good morning. My name is Emily Flathers, and I teach kindergarten through 3rd grade music in the Osborne School District of Central Phoenix. I'm really glad to be here with you today. We're going to explore all sorts of sounds that you can make at home. I love exploring sounds. I love to hear the wind in the trees. I love to hear the ocean roar and the clouds, the thunder. Everything is beautiful, and you can make some sounds today with me. Let's get started though by waking up our bodies with something I like to call beat work. I'm going to play some music with a steady beat, and you can just copy me. When we're finished, I'm going to make some mouth sounds, and you can keep on copying me. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. Let's do this. Ba, 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 ba. Sha, 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 sha. Bip, 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 bip. Ha, 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 ha. Woo, woo, woo. Nya, 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 nya. Ah. Pa, 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 pa. Loo, 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 loo. Fantastic. All right, sounds like our bodies are awake, our minds are awake, our voices are awake, and now it's time to share the story of a girl who discovered that we can make music ourselves. We don't have to have a machine or a factory making instruments. We can make them ourselves at home. The book is called Music from the Sky. The words are by Denise Gillard and the pictures are by Stephen Taylor. Music from the Sky. Music from the sky. Early morning. Shh. No one is up but Grandpa and me. I sneak down the stairs. Creak, creak, creak. Come on, girl, put on your boots. Where are we going, Gramps? Going to make a flute, he says. You can't make a flute. I've been to a concert. I've seen the long, shiny silver flute sounding so pretty, just like music from the sky. You can't make a flute, can you, Grandpa? Grandpa makes a funny face at me. He says, I'm a real crazy girl. Music from the sky? When did you ever hear music from the sky, he asks. I heard the music one day when I was looking up at the clouds floating by. Big, fluffy, puffy clouds that look like bears and boats. And then I heard it. Music from the sky. Gramps, if you close your eyes real tight and listen, I bet you could hear it too. Gramps smiles at me. He says, I'm a wonder. Then, just like that, he's ready to go. Are you coming? He asks. Yes, I'm coming to make a flute. I noticed she's putting on her boots, and he had asked her about boots. I wonder why they're going to need boots. Squish, squish, squish. Good thing we have our boots on. It gets awfully muddy out here on the marsh. Perfect place for making stuff, says Grandpa. Oh, Grandpa, you can't really make a flute. You're just teasing. My grandfather's eyes twinkle when he laughs at me. He thinks I'm too small to know what a flute looks like. I remember going to a concert with my mom. After the concert, all the children got to line up so we could try out the instruments. I was the first kid in line. I took a deep breath and blew into the flute. All I heard was air. It takes lots of practice to make those sweet sounds, but I bet if I get the chance, I'll be a great musician someday. Hey, dreamer, calls Grandpa. Let's get busy. We look at tree branches. Can't be too fat, too dry, or too rough. We search. Finally, we find the right branch. My grandfather lets me carry the branch home. I have to be very careful. This isn't just any ordinary stick, you know. Back at the house, Grandpa sits in his favorite chair. He takes out his long, shiny silver knife and whittles away at the branch. He whittles the wood, and soon... I see he's cutting the bark off, and he slides it right off where the wood is underneath. I see him cutting a large chunk out of that area. And then it looks like he's hollowed it out inside and cuts a notch there, like the notch of a whistle. And then he puts it all back on. Looks like he's got a special system. He knows what he's doing. It's a flute. I blow into it. What a sound. Now I'm making music sounding so pretty, just like music from the sky. The end. Music from the sky. One of the reasons I like this book so much is that we are discovering along with this young girl that things don't come just from factories. Things long ago were made by people. Parents made their toys for their children. When people were settling the West, they didn't have stores out there. They made the things they needed. So people were very quick to make a flute, to make a rattle, all sorts of musical instruments. I also like it because there's the relationship between a young girl and her grandpa. And you can see that he loves her and she loves him, and they have a close relationship. I wonder if her grandpa's grandpa took him out when he was a kid and showed him how to make a flute. Pretty cool stuff. Thank you for sharing the book with me. Oh, I think it's time for a little stretch. Put your hands in the air. Oh, wiggle those fingers and some shoulders. I think our voices got a little cold. It's time for audience participation. Does anyone know the song, Hey Lolly Lolly? Hey Lolly Lolly is one of those songs where you get to make it up yourself. I'll sing it, and then maybe you can help me find a new part to put in it. There it is. There it is. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. That's the part that comes back. Then you add a name of a friend. I've got a friend whose name is Tony. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. He likes cheesy macaroni. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Sing lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. I have a friend Nancy. I have a friend whose name is Nancy. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. She likes dressing up awful fancy. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Sing lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Do you have a friend? Think about the name of your friend. Maybe we can make a rhyme about your friend. I heard Mike. Okay, Mike. Let me think of something that rhymes with Mike. I've got it. I've got a friend whose name is Mike. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. He loves to go out riding on his bike. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Sing lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. Hey lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. One more friend. Devranya? Sounds great. Devranya. Devranya. Oh, I know what Devranya likes. Let's try this. I've got a friend whose name is Devranya. Hey lolly, lolly, lo. She loved to go to Comic-Con. Yeah. Hey, lolly, lolly, lo. Sing, lolly. Hey, lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey, lolly, lolly, lo. Hey, lolly, lolly, lolly. Hey, lolly, lolly, lo. Hey, lolly, lolly, lo. All right, great job. Put your favorite hand in the air and pat yourself on the back for singing along and learning the song with me. All right, we are here to make our own sounds. One of my favorite sounds is the rustling of the wind in the trees, like I was saying earlier. I have also been to the ocean one time, and oh, that sound is so relaxing. It never stops, but it's always changing. I brought some things here today so we can make our own ocean drum. Ocean drum, I hear, was actually invented in Nepal, which is up in the Himalaya mountains, far from any ocean, but just there to make a watery sound, very healing sound. Water is important for every living being on the planet. So today we have two things. We have a container and we have filler, small objects that will roll around inside the container to create the sound of ocean waves. There's all sorts of things you could use for your container. I brought a bucket from ice cream. I bought a Tupperware container, and I brought, this came from the dollar store. I thought maybe it was for changing your oil, but it's a big pan. And we're just gonna try some different things. The great thing about this activity is you can make the ocean drum sound the way you want. You don't have to follow anything. You can experiment till it sounds right to you. So we've got our containers, and then our filler. I just brought some beads from my house, little pony beads, some just different craft beads. There's some sequins. If you don't have beads, you can use beans. Dry pinto beans work great. They roll around nicely. Maybe you're going to be boiling beans for dinner, and you can just say, hey, before we do that, can I try experimenting? And hopefully they'll say, sure, go ahead. You can say, I'll help. I'll pick out the little rocks. But you got to do it before you rinse off the beans, because they're not going to roll around if they're wet. I also had a little container that had some BBs, and the factory-made ocean drums, I think they use something like that, ball bearings or BBs. But we're going to try with beans today. So first, let's try the ice cream pail, and I'm going to put just a handful in. I've got about a cup and a half, and I don't know what the amount's going to be, but let's hear it fall in. Sounds like popcorn. You can see here probably through the bottom, you can see just a little bit of that. Let's get one more handful. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to roll with my wrists, an even motion so the beans roll around the outside, or the beads or beans. So let's see what happens. Not bad. There's a constant sound, but sometimes there's a wave, like an extra large wave that comes crashing, and maybe instead of rolling that time, you kind of shift suddenly, so you'll hear a bigger sound. Let's try more beads. Woo! I bet if you look under, you can see it's almost completely covered. Nice. I'm going to try it with this other container. The ocean drums I've seen are kind of shallow. Maybe the sound will change differently when I put it in this larger container that is shallow. Sounds like, oh, and all the sequins. See what happens. All right, this one actually has sort of a ribbed bottom to it. I think it's so things can dry, cookies can be there, or maybe it's for putting bacon on, I don't know. Let's try it in this smooth, big container. Wow, I really like the sound of the big container. So the largest container you can get, kind of shallow so the sound can get out, but if it's too shallow, the beads might get out. So just play with it. For younger kids who are going to try this, I suggest that you have a towel spread across your table. That way if the beans fall out, they're not going to go rolling. They'll stay right there with you. Experiment, see what you can find. I've tried this before with salt. Salt makes a really cool sound, but the salt particles are so small. It's very different. Not quite like an ocean, but it's soothing nonetheless. All right, shall I try it with the BBs? I think I should. All right, let's try them in this bucket. These are BBs or ball bearings. They're heavier. So heavier things will probably make a different sound. Wow. Neat. So look around your house. What do you need? Again, those two things, a container and filler. I wonder what you're going to come up with. I wonder what would happen if you tried it with a square container. Why don't you see and see what happens? All right. Again, I have been Emily Flathers from Osborne, and I'm so glad to have had this chance to share creating sounds, exploring sounds with you. Hope you have a great day and keep learning. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark Dayette. I'm the K-4 PE teacher for Encanto Elementary School in the Osborne School District. Today we're here to do some stretching and some warm-ups and some indoor exercises that'll get you going and get your heart rate going, and not a lot of equipment. Please do as many of these as you can. You can do more repetitions than I do, or you can do less. But one thing we always want to remember, start off with a drink of water. And anytime you need to take a break, please take a break. The first action we're going to do today is a toe touch. This one we're going to bend at our stomachs. The key here is not to bend our knees. If you don't make your toes, it's okay, because you'll feel the stretch in the back of your legs. We're going to bend down, do 2 sets of these, count to 10 each time. Here we go. Here's the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slowly come up. You should be able to feel that stretch at the back of your legs. Okay, we're going to do a second stretch. Again, the key is keep your knees straight and bend at your tummy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then come back up. Okay, our second one is a knee and leg stretch. We're going to have our legs a little bit shoulder width apart. It doesn't matter which leg you start with. Turn one leg to the side. You're going to keep the leg that's facing forward straight. You're going to bend your knee that's facing to the side. Again, count for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Come back up slowly. Switch your feet. So the foot that was facing out is now facing forward. The foot that was facing forward is now facing out. And we're going to do 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, come back up again. Almost done with our legs. Our last one we call the flamingo stretch. Flamingos stand on one foot. So what you're going to do, choose either leg. You're going to keep one leg on the ground, take the other leg behind you and hold it up. Key there, see I started to lose my balance. Don't hop around, we don't want anybody to fall and get hurt. If you lose your balance, just let your foot go, touch the floor and grab it again. Again, this one is for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Bring your foot down slowly. We're going to change feet. Foot that was up is now going to be on the ground. Foot that was on the ground, we're going to stretch. You should feel that right here in the front of your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we've got some good stuff with our legs. Now we're going to go with our arms. Put both arms forward, out to the side, and we're just going to have rotating circles toward the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, our next one is going to be a stretch of our shoulders. Keep our hands to the side. This time we're going to bring over our head and touch. If you make a clapping noise, that's great. Okay, again for 10. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. And our last one, going to keep our arms out. We're going to rotate them backwards now. Get a little bit of a stretch in our muscles the other way. This time we're going to count backwards from 10 down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we bring it to namaste. Okay? Now, that's our initial warm-up. Again, I'm feeling a little thirsty, so we're going to go with a drink of water. Always keep yourself hydrated. If you're doing these outside or inside, you want to make sure you have lots of water in you. What I think is a special treat for everybody today, I'm going to read you a story about a PE teacher, but not any PE teacher, the PE teacher from the Black Lagoon. Okay, this book is by Mike Thaler with pictures by Jared Lee. We're getting a new gym teacher this year. That could be good. He's coming over from the junior high. His name is Mr. Green. The kids say he's big, he's mean, and he's rarely seen. That wouldn't be too good for a PE teacher. Uh-oh. They say he's very hairy, and his knuckles touch the ground. His nickname is Coach Kong, and no one has actually heard him speak any words. Uh-oh. He just blows his whistle a lot. They say he has a little office full of balls and clubs and tires. I'm sure I've done a lot of PE work with that. The big kids say he makes you run a lot. First, a lap around the gym. Not too bad. Then a lap around the school. Well, when it cools down, that's not a bad thing to do. This is pretty good so far. Whoa. Then a lap around the world. Man, that's a long way. Then he gives you fitness tests. You have to lift his pickup truck over your head before the semester ends. I guess that's why they call it a pickup truck. Then there's the posture test. If you don't pass that, he ties you between two boards. Not a good way to fix your posture. But there are games too. He makes you play dodgeball. We play that. Oh, with his truck? No, don't play dodgeball with his truck. And tag with crazy glue. And baseball with real bats? Yikes. Hope they play at Halloween. Then there's the parachute. Oh, I love that. He makes us hold on tight to the side and jump out of an airplane. No. You spend a lot of time getting in shape. He makes you do push-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups, sit-ups, but most of all, kids just get sick. Not good. Then you have to climb the rope. If you don't reach the top, he sets the bottom on fire. They say there are still kids up in the ceiling from the junior high gym. If you don't pass the fitness test, your body gets donated to science. He also is big on gymnastics. He makes you walk the beam, jump over the horse, he makes you do handstands, headstands, nose stands, and music stands. He makes you do somersaults and cartwheels. And the worst thing ever, square dancing with the girls. Oh no, there's the whistle. I better go line up. Hi kids, I'm Mr. Green, your new PE teacher. I can't believe it. He's a regular guy. Let's play some basketball, says Mr. Green. We do, and I score 2 baskets. This is great. I'm going to love gym. Right, so one of my favorite books, some craziness in there. Hope you enjoyed it and have some fun reading.
Good morning, students. I'm Michael Roberts, Superintendent of the Osborne School District in Central Phoenix.
And I'm Quentin Boyd, Superintendent of the Roosevelt School District in South Phoenix.
We're pleased to have this partnership with the City of Phoenix to take Phoenix students on a new learning adventure right here on Phoenix TV.
Just because our school buildings are closed doesn't mean the learning stops.
We have the best, most creative teachers from Roosevelt and Osborne school districts on board to provide you with a great learning experience.
Okay, students, that's the bell, so the Phoenix TV study hall resumes. Here's your next lesson.
Hi, I'm Lauren Kennedy, the art teacher at Chavez Leadership Academy. Today I'm going to teach you how to take captivating portraits with natural light. All a camera does is capture light. That's it. Yes, I know you can add all sorts of technical gizmos and this and that, but a camera's job is and will always be to capture light. Photography literally means light writing. Photo translates to light, graph translates to write. You put them together, you have a photograph, light writing. It's super important that we understand how to play with light if we want to be dynamic photographers, or shall I say, light writer. Just sounds more enlightened, right? Okay, maybe not. We'll stick with photographer. Let's get started. All you need for this lesson is some kind of camera, sunlight, and a window. You'll do this activity inside, and then for the challenge, if you're interested, you'll go outside and play with golden hour lighting.
Take a minute to look at the room you're in. What do you see? Describe all of the details, either in your mind or aloud to someone you're with. Did you notice the light? If so, what did you notice about the light? Did you see highlights or those areas where the light is strongest and brightest? Did you notice shadows? Areas where there isn't much light, where there's darkness?
So what I'm showing you today is just a taste to get you to pay attention to light and start to play with it. If you're bored, stuck at home, I'm hoping that that's about to change because light is so entertaining, at least for me, okay? But I'm kind of a photo geek that way. I'm gonna teach you a few different ways of lighting your subject. So the first one is front lighting, the second one is side lighting, and then the third one is backlighting. So I'll show you a few examples of each. This is where you're gonna wanna have that window with some sun coming through. So you're not gonna wanna do this part at night. You'll wanna do this during the day. Really any time of day will be fine.
This is a picture of the window that I used for the photographs that I'm going to show you. So this is the window in my bedroom, and you can see that there's quite a bit of sunlight coming in, and as I took this picture, it's making everything around the window look quite dark, okay? So here you can see some of the lighting, right? Some really cool shadows here of the window frame and the curtains. Those are just some things to pay attention to when you're looking for a light source or interesting places to take photographs. Pay attention to details like this that could either be distractions, they're like moscas, or they're interesting details that can make a photograph more fun. So just things to pay attention to. Okay, I'm going to show you some pictures that I took of myself. I use myself as the subject because I'm really working on getting more comfortable in front of the camera. So as I mentioned before, you can use yourself as a subject or you could use someone else. There are pros and cons to both ways of doing this, but I decided to use myself as a subject and do some self-portraits by setting a timer so that I could get more comfortable in front of the camera while practicing this. Okay, so this first picture I'm sharing with you because I wanted to illustrate front lighting. Front lighting is when you light the subject with the sun or the light source facing them. So the sun is behind the camera. I'm looking towards the window. And what happens when we're looking towards the light source is that we get light cast all over the front of our face. So this can be really flattering for older people. So maybe if grandma doesn't want to take pictures because she's worried about showing her wrinkles, this is a great lighting to use, and you could tell her that because it actually downplays your wrinkles and makes your face look really smooth. The exception is if it's really bright and you're looking into the sun, you might be squinting or still get some dark shadows because of that. This is another front lighting photo, so you can see same background. I'm looking towards the window again. I just wanted to share so you can see how this is a little bit brighter, a bit more exposed, right? So my face looks lighter because the camera is receiving more sunlight. But again, you can see how it illuminates the whole front of my face, even the top of my hair here. You can see some highlights on my curly hair. Okay, now this is a different kind of lighting. So as you can see, my background has changed. The reason is because now I'm sitting next to the window instead of facing it. So now that I'm next to the window, we get what we call side lighting. Can you guess where the light source is here? I mean, I told you, but do you see where the light is shining? Yeah, you can see on my left side, so it looks like our right here, the left side of my face, even my shoulder, is more illuminated. There's more light there, where there's a bit of shadow along my right side. So that can create kind of a dramatic effect. I'm going to show you another picture so you can see how that gets enhanced even more. But it can be really nice if you're trying to create more of a serious tone, a little bit more dramatic than that front lighting. So here again, you can see I changed my aperture so you can see the background a bit more here. This is another side lighting picture. The difference is that I closed the curtain, so there's only a bit of light sneaking through where the curtain doesn't cover. And you can see that it gets a little bit more dramatic. So again, we can see the highlights on the left side of my face and the shadows on the right. But now those shadows are a little bit darker and the highlights look a little bit brighter because that light's focused. It's not as broad, covering more of my face. Okay, now notice the background. How would you describe this lighting after seeing those first two? Definitely different from the ones we just looked at. So you may have already figured this out, but where would you describe the light source compared to me, the subject? The light source is coming from behind me, so you can see, right, here's the window. So the sun is outside, obviously, and the sun is coming in through the window behind me. So we call this backlighting. I'm lit from behind. Now what happens when you light a subject from behind with backlighting is that shadows get cast on the subject. So you can tell here, there's not a lot of detail that you can see in my face. It's actually quite dark. You can see the drama of the highlights on my cheekbones, on my shoulders, but aside from that, everything starts to blend together and you see that contrast, really high contrast of the darkness of the subject and the light source behind it. I'm going to show you another version of backlighting so you can really see how dramatic this gets. Okay, so we would call this a silhouette, right? We can see the outline of my body here, the torso, my head, my face, right? But we don't see the details. You really can't see much. Maybe the glint of my eye there, but it's quite black. So we call this a silhouette or a shadow. Again, it's just a matter of how we're focusing our camera on the subject here to make it even darker, something to play with, and you can adjust the exposure on your camera or phone or tablet as well to achieve that effect. Those are three kinds of lighting that you can use to really create dramatic effect and captivating portraits, I am going to show you a few more photographs from this session. I know you'll recognize the backgrounds, but I want you to pay attention and see if you can notice what kind of lighting I'm using. As I show you these photos, I want you to think about where the light is coming from and what's the mood that creates. Okay, so you're really thinking about how the light relates to the subject, which in this case is me, and you're thinking about the effect of that light. How does the light change the story? Where is the light source coming from in this picture? Yet you can tell where the light source is coming from by the highlights. It's much brighter along this side of my face here, and the side of my hand, the back of my hand. And you can see like a line of light traveling to my shoulder even. But notice on the back of my shoulder, there's a shadow, right? The back of my neck, my ear, there's shadow. So here we have that side lighting. What's the effect of the side lighting? And maybe my pose too in this picture. What's the mood? There's not one right answer. I might describe the mood as serious, calm, still, quiet. There's not a lot of movement. I kind of look like I'm waiting. I'm tired of being inside. Okay, what about this one? Where's the light source coming from here? It might be harder to see because there's not so much contrast, right? This is that front lighting. We get pretty even light all over the front of my face, my neck, and my shoulders. So pretty even lighting, which downplays details like wrinkles. Now, how would you describe the mood of this photograph? And yes, you can consider, my pose and the lighting. Yeah, maybe happy, playful, carefree. Okay? So again, you can play with whether you are the subject or someone else is. Play with the subject to create these different moods with the lighting. Where's the light coming from in this picture? So again, you can see that the window's behind me, so you can tell that the light source is coming from behind me, right? And we've got this silhouette, not a lot of detail, very dramatic, where we get those little highlights on my shoulder and arm, right around my eye. But for the most part, my body looks very dark. There's not much detail. So based on what you see here, how would you describe the mood of this picture? Yeah, again, always no wrong answer really in interpreting an image, but here I think the story is kind of sad or reflective. I look like I'm sitting and thinking or ruminating, which means thinking too much. Okay, so those are a few examples of how to use front lighting, side lighting, and backlighting, and I really feel like that's a great place to start to jump into playing with lighting at home.
Your call to action for this lesson is to take 3 portraits with natural light, 1 with front lighting, 1 with side lighting, and 1 with backlighting. You can use yourself as a subject or you could use someone else, but please use a human subject so you can really play with how dynamic light is on the human face.
To help you play with light, this hack is important to know if you are using a phone or tablet. When you open the camera app, you can actually adjust the exposure or how much light the camera receives. So you can start by touching a point that you want to focus on. Okay, so I just chose my plant and you can see the little yellow box pop up. You can actually adjust the exposure by sliding that up, dragging my finger up and then down. So as I move up, you can see it looks like it's brighter inside. That's because the camera is adjusted for a higher exposure. So it's like the camera is soaking up more light. When I drag down, it's a lower exposure, so the camera receives less light.
If you're looking for another challenge, go outside and play with light at golden hour. Golden hour is the time of day about 60 minutes during sunrise and 60 minutes before sunset. It's one of the most spectacular times to capture portraits and really any photograph because everything turns this warm golden glow and the sun creates really soft light. So don't take my word for it, go out and try it. Now, if that's not enough and you're really becoming a photo geek like me, here's another challenge. Take 10 portraits of the same subject, now using artificial light. So artificial light means it's human-made, it's not the sun, right? So you could use a flashlight. I like to use the one on my phone. So for example, that side lighting, right? Gets a lot more dramatic. You can play with how close or far away. You could do some spotlighting, front lighting and back lighting. You might want to get someone to help you out with that. Oh, and my favorite, ghost story lighting. Yes, yes. Very, very intense. Anyway, have fun with it. As always, it's playtime. It shouldn't feel like work. It should be fun. It's a challenge to communicate with your subject, whether it's someone else or you. Taking self-portraits is really challenging, at least I think it is. Just have fun with it. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Miss Georges and I teach in the Osborne School District at Clarendon Elementary School and Osborne Middle School. I have the greatest job in the world and I get to teach 5th through 8th grade band. Today we are going to invent our own instrument. First, to prepare, we'll review our instrument families. Then we're going to go over a new classification system that ethnomusicologists use called the Hornbostel Sachs classification system. Then I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to build your instrument. There will be a pop quiz in there. And at the very end, I will reveal the instrument that I have invented. I'm super excited to get going. But first, let's go over our instrument families. Let's talk about instrument classifications today. I'm going to go over 2. When we talk about classifying instruments, we're talking about organology. Organology is the science and study of classifying instruments. Let's say that together. Organology is the science and study of classifying instruments. We'll talk about instrument families first because I think you might be familiar with a lot of these. There are 4 primary instrument families: woodwinds, brass, percussion, and strings. Let's talk about the woodwinds first. To be a member of the woodwind family, you have to use a wooden reed that vibrates to make sound. Our first member of the woodwind family is the flute. Now, I know I just told you have to have a reed that vibrates to make sound, and there is no reed on this flute. But way back in ancient Greek times, flutes did have reeds. They had a tiny little double reed in the middle of the mouthpiece, and that would vibrate to make sound. As the flute evolved, it turned into primarily a metal instrument, but we still consider it a member of the woodwind family. The next member of the woodwind family is my favorite instrument, the clarinet. And finally, the saxophone. To be a member of the brass family, you have to be made out of yellow brass and use a cup-shaped mouthpiece that when you buzz up against it, helps to vibrate and make sound. First member of the brass family is the trumpet. We also have the trombone, and my favorite, the tuba. To be a member of the percussion family, you have to make sound once you strike the instrument. A member of the percussion family is the marimba, and we also have the snare drum. There are lots more instruments in the percussion family, and I bet you could think of at least 3 or 4 right now. Finally, our last instrument family today is the strings family. To be a member of the string family, you have to have a string that vibrates to make sound. We have violins and big old basses. But what about The piano. What instrument family would that be a member of? Or what about the mouth bow? Or the talking drum? Or what about our voice? What instrument family would those musical instruments be a part of? That's what brings us to our other instrument classification system, the Hornbostel Sachs organologies. This is a system that ethnomusicologists really like to use because it includes way more than just our typical band and orchestra families. There are 6 different categories of Hornbostel Sachs organologies. First, we have idiophones, chordophones, membranophones, electrophones, aerophones, and corpophones. Now you'll notice that each of those words ends with the word phones. Phones, what could that mean? It probably means sound. And then the beginning of each word is a little different. So let's talk about what each of these sounds could be made, how they could be made. Idiophone. Idio means personal. So an idiophone is an instrument that can produce its own sound. For example, the maracas. The maracas are full of tiny beads, and when you shake them, it makes its own sound. Another example would be this tambourine. When you shake this tambourine, the jingles jingle up against each other, and they're making their own sound. Our other category is the chordophone. Chordo means chords or strings. So a chordophone would be an instrument that uses vibrating strings to make sound. An example could be the harp. When we pluck the strings of a harp, it makes sound. The violin, you can either pluck the strings or use a bow that will help the strings vibrate to make sound. And the ukulele. Membranophone. Membrano is a word that means skin. So membranophone is an instrument that uses a stretched membrane that vibrates to make sound. Drums are a great example of membranophones. This is where we get a stretched skin over the body of our drum, and when we strike it, it makes sound. Or the talking drum, mentioned before. The talking drum is one of my favorite drums because all of those cords along the side can be tightened under your arm when you're holding the drum, or they can be loosened, same thing, while you're holding it under your arm. And when you tighten, the pitch of the drum while we strike it goes up, boom, 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 and it can go down, boom, 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 boom. What about this tambourine? I know I just said the tambourine was a member of the idiophone family, but it can also be a member of the membranophone family if it has that thin membrane stretched across the top of it. Electrophone. Electro means electricity. So an electrophone is an instrument that uses electricity to make sound. Can you think of any instruments that use electricity to make sound? I bet you thought of the electric guitar. Absolutely. The theremin. You may have seen the theremin at the Music Instrument Museum. The theremin produces static electricity, and you can use your hands to interrupt those electric waves to change the pitch. It's really cool. Then we have our aerophones. Aero means air. So an aerophone is an instrument that uses air vibrations to make sound. For example, the French horn. This would be another member of the brass family, and you would use a mouthpiece to blow into, and it would make sound. And then we have the flute. Up next, we have corpophones. Corpo means body. Kind of like a corpse is a dead body, corpo means body. So a corpophone is when we are using our body to make sound, like clapping or step. If any of you are members of a step team, that's where we use body percussion and stomping and the clapping and snaps to make music. Okay, pop quiz. Let's see what you remember. What kind of instrument produces sound through vibrations from bodies of air? All right, so our key word there is air. What kind of instrument produces sound through vibrations from bodies of air? If you said aerophone, you would be correct. Plus 10 points for you. Next question. What kind of instrument produces sound through vibrations of a stretched membrane? Stretched membrane. Okay. What kind of instrument produces sound through vibrations of a stretched membrane? If you said membranophone, plus 20 points for you. Nice work. Okay, how would you classify this instrument? It looks like we've got strings on the instrument, and we're probably playing it by plucking the strings. So what kind of instrument would use strings? What was that word? If you said chordophone, you are absolutely correct. Nice work. This is an instrument from China. So how would you classify this instrument? This is a mouth bow again, and it looks like there's one big string, and then we've got a stick that kind of taps on the instrument, and then it's being rested in her mouth. So there could be more than one category that this falls into. Definitely a chordophone, right? Because there's that string that's vibrating to make sound, and we're using the stick to help with those vibrations. And I think we could even include aerophone, because if you watch a video of a mouth bow, oftentimes their mouths are moving, and that's helping the vibrations to make sound. But there might not be a whole lot of air. What other categories could you put this instrument into? I think even an idiophone, because we have a stick, and the stick itself is hitting the instrument to create another sound. Interesting. How would you classify this instrument? Now, these women are playing water with their hands. How would you classify that? I would definitely classify it under chordophone.
So the first step to inventing your own instrument flip it over, and here's the second one. You want to try to make them the same angle, but if it's not perfect, it'll still work. Okay, and then we flatten it together. The two tips now kind of go outwards like this if you turned it sideways. This mimics a double reed that you would maybe find on an oboe or a bassoon. Let's hear what it sounds like. Ooh, that's a good one. This is a thicker straw, so I got a pretty big sound out of it. Again, you can do this with any straw that you find. So this would be a great way to make an aerophone using a reed instrument. You could build all kinds of stuff around this too. You could even pierce this with holes and change the pitch that way, like a little tiny double reed recorder, little clarinet almost. Okay, let's talk about another aerophone mouthpiece that we can create. You might be familiar with brass instrument mouthpieces. Remember, they are cup-shaped mouthpieces, and you have to buzz your lips together in order to get the sound out, like this. So an easy way to do that is to find any bottle, and we're going to cut around the top so that we're going to end up buzzing into this section right here. To cut this bottle, there's one other aerophone mouthpiece you could create, and that would be a Helmholtz resonator. That's a fancy term for what a flute player does when they play their instrument. So they have a tone hole that they blow across. They don't blow down inside the flute, they blow across the flute to make sound. It kind of sounds like this. That's a Helmholtz resonator. So you could add that to your instrument. If you wanted to use it like a brass mouthpiece though, you're gonna have to cut it off from the container itself. So to do that, you might need to start your incision with a knife, but then you can finish with scissors. Or a milk bottle might work too, or a milk, even the paper milk containers would work. There we go. Cool. So again, this is my mouthpiece, and I can buzz on it to make sound. So think about if you made some kind of amplification around that, that could be really cool. Again, another aerophone starter. All right, so that was 3 different aerophone mouthpieces. We had our double reed, we had our Helmholtz resonator we blew across the top, and then we had our brass mouthpiece that we cut from a bottle. Now, let's talk about how we could create chordophones. So a chordophone, again, uses chords or strings that vibrate to make sound by using rubber bands. That might be the easiest way to do it. So again, you want some kind of resonating chamber. This is my cashew can. And then a couple of rubber bands, one across the top. And we want a bridge. So I'm gonna put my bridge right down here for this. And that gets the strings up above so that they're not flush against whatever container that you're using. Now, I can change the notes because I have a bridge. So here's what it would sound like without any fingers down. Now if I put a finger down, do you hear how much higher it is? Here it is again, open. And then it goes higher. It's a lot how a violin works. So when you have an open string, it sounds lower, and you add fingers in order to make the sound go higher and higher. Then, last but not least, let's go over a couple of membranophone ideas. For membranophones, we need to make some kind of stretched membrane. An easy way to do that, I'm going to come back to my protein powder can, is to stretch plastic wrap. Here's my saran wrap. And we can stretch it across the top to get our nice stretched membrane. Maybe add a rubber band to keep it simple. And here we go. What could I play this with? Ah, plastic fork. Membranophone. Another way, a little more complicated, is to make a tape membrane. Masking tape works really well. I don't have any masking tape right now, so I got some painter's tape in the garage. And what you would do is kind of lay it out like this and kind of stagger the strips so that they are on top of one another. And then when I take it off of my counter, then you want to do the other side so it's not sticky on one side. All right, not the neatest job in the world, but now I have another stretch membrane that I can stretch over. Where's my cashew can? Sorry, cordophone. If I were to stretch this over my can, this would be another great way to do a membranophone. A nice tight membrane that vibrates to make a good sound. Everybody, now it's time for the big reveal. Here is the instrument I invented. I don't have a name for it yet, but it does fall under at least 3 different Hornbostel Sachs categories. The first is the aerophone. This is my aerophone double reed. It's going to use air and it will vibrate these 2 tips together to make sound. Let's hear what that sounds like. Kind of like a duck. Then I have 2 idiophones attached. The first are these brass washers attached to rubber bands. When they jingle together, they get a pretty sound. The second idiophone is this scraper right here. It was made from toothpicks and from aluminum foil. Let's hear what that sounds like. I like playing that with my plastic fork. And then last but not least, we have a cordophone that was made from a rubber band and half of a ping pong ball as the bridge. Let's hear what that sounds like. Last but not least, I used my cupcake holders at the bottom as some extra decoration and to look pretty. Oftentimes instruments do have extra details that are there for personal reasons or just to make it look really nice. So let's hear what my instrument sounds like all together. I hope you have had so much fun this week. It's been great teaching you all about the instrument classifications. I look forward to seeing you in the future. From my heart to your heart, I wish you well. I hope you are safe and I hope you are feeling loved. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Hello everybody. Today's lesson is brought to you by Roosevelt School District. I am Coach Newsome representing Valley View Elementary.
Coach Pettit from Campbell Elementary.
It's hot outside, scorching. Today's theme is water.
We're going to work up a sweat with our fitness routine and then we're going to have fun using water.
The first thing we're going to do today, kids, is a warm-up. It's very important to get your body warmed up first, even before you do stretches, to get the blood circulating through your body. It allows your muscles to relax. You do not want to stretch a cold body. All right, so the first thing we're going to do today is arm circles. So put your arms out flat. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reverse for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next exercise we're going to do to warm up the shoulders are arm swings. Remember to keep your arms at your shoulders width. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. All right, good job warming up those shoulders. Now let's move to our midsection. The first exercise we're going to do is called trunk twist. Try saying that 3 times. So what I want you to do is reach side to side 5 times as if you are trying to touch the other opposite wall. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3. Good job. 4, 5. Way to go. The next exercise we're going to do is called windmill. Windmill for, I want you to spread your legs, slightly bent, and do not rush. Take your time. You're going to bend down to touch each one of your legs. Follow me. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Good job, kids. Now we're going to warm up our hips. The first exercise is called the Heisman. Bring your opposite knee to your opposite elbow, and we're going to do 5 of these. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job doing that. This next exercise is going to be called Frankenstein. Bring your legs to your upper body. Don't bend down to try to touch your foot. Let's do 5 of these, each leg. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3. Good job. 4, 5. Way to go. Now we're going to engage our core. We're going to do a warm-up called the T-plank. Get into a plank position and reach up and touch the sky nice and slow. 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Way to go. Now let's engage our entire body doing some jumping jacks. 10 of these. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Let's do some jump rope. Imagine that you have an imaginary jump rope, and let's do 10 jump ropes. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. Good job warming up. Now we're moving right into our workout. The challenge is do as many as you can of each exercise within this 25 seconds. We can do this. It's lunges. Go. When you step out, try to make sure that your knee does not come over your toe. Keep your back straight as possible. Do as many as you can. Good job. The next exercise, Russian twist. Okay. Lean back like a sit-up, chest up, breathe, and rotate side to side. Touch each side of your body many times as you can. You need to take a rest, take a rest. It's shoulder tap. Get in the plank position and touch your shoulder on the opposite side. Try to keep your back as straight as possible. Do as many as you can. Good job. All right, next exercise, squat. Bend down. Put all the weight on your heels. Arms out in front of you. Go as low as you can. Good job, guys. Next exercise is bicycles. Get up in a push-up position and ride your bike. Take a break when you need to, and then get back in it. You can do it, keep going. Do as many as you can. All right, good job. Now we're going to start working in our plank position and do the T-planks. Again, try to keep your back as straight as possible. Take a break when you need it. Now we're going to do side lunges, 25 times. Go. Take your time. You want your chest up. You want to make sure your knee is behind your toe. Do as many as you can. Take a break when you need it. We can do this. It's supposed to be hard. Good job. If you need to take a break, take a couple seconds. When you can get back in, join. So now we're going to do running in place. Go. High knees. If you can only bring them up like this, that's okay. Go as high as you can. Make sure your trunk is standing straight up. Take a break when you need it. All right, now we're going to go back on the ground, do a stand-up push-up. Again, make sure your back is flat. Arms underneath your shoulders and maybe a little wider. Good job. Take a break on your knees like this if you need to. And jump right back in when you can. Good job. Next exercise is reverse lunges. This is what it looks like from the side. Step back. Again, you want your knee behind your toe. You might lose your balance, that's okay, take your time. Do as many as you can with proper form. Trunk straight up. There you go. All right, next exercise, we're going to do mountain climbers. Plank position again. I know it's hard, we can do it. Act like you're climbing the mountain. If you can go faster, you can. If you need to go a little slower, that's okay. Take a break when you need it. Jump back in when you can. Last exercise to finish it. We're gonna do some burpees. You ready? Go down, touch the ground, plank, come up, reach for the sky. Down, out, in, up. Down, out, in, up. Good job. Down, out, in, up. Down, out, in, up. If you want to make it a little harder, do a push-up. Down, out, push-up, in, up. All right. Good job. Let's talk about some hygiene tips now. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds before and after you eat and after you cough. You want to make sure that you limit things while you're out in public. Try not to touch your face. If you have to sneeze or cough, cough and sneeze into your elbow. At night, make sure you're brushing your teeth, and in the morning, you want to make sure you're also taking a shower or a bath every single night. After that, make sure you use deodorant. Last but not least, get plenty of sleep, 7 to 8 hours a night. The game we're going to introduce to you is a sponge relay. The first person that fills up their bottle using the sponge wins. The materials you need are 2 sponges, 2 bottles, a bucket to put the water in, and that's it. Have fun. Today we are working on throwing for accuracy. Overhand throws, 5 balloons. How many targets can you hit? That's all right. Yeah. Come on. 3. Oh yeah. Water safety tips. Never swim alone. Always swim with an adult. Wear a life vest or floaties until you learn how to swim properly. Always enter the pool or water feet first. Diving into shallow ends can cause serious injury. Stay away from pool drains. Stay within designated swimming areas. Know what to do if in case there is an emergency. Don't jump in to save anyone. Reach, throw, don't go. Use a floating device or a long object to help a struggling swimmer. And if necessary, always call 911. Stay safe. All right, after every workout, you want to make sure that you treat your body right for all the hard work you did and cool your body down with some stretches. Also, this is a good time to get you some hydration in as well, okay? All right. We're going to stretch it from head to toe. Hold it for 15 seconds. Nice and easy. Take some deep breaths. You worked really hard. Very proud of you, each and every one of you guys. And we're just going to reach across and do the other side as well. Not too hard. You don't want to hurt yourself. You want to make sure you can feel it a little bit. Use the opposite arm to kind of hold it a little bit. Good job. Everyone's doing fantastic. All right. Big chest. Grab your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders back and push down and out a little bit. Good job. This is stretching your chest. This is what it looks like from the front. Good job. Now we're going to stretch our back. Intertwine your fingers and lock it out. You can run your back out. You should feel that going across your shoulders. Stretch our triceps. Reach the arm up. Opposite hand. Good job. Do the other arm. Opposite arm can help the other arm stretch. Good job. Next stretch is the quad stretch. It takes a little bit of balance. Pull down on your opposite ear, helps out a little bit. Next stretch will be the hurdle stretch. You stretch your hamstring, you want to sit down, curl one leg, and reach out for that toe. Chest up high, breathe out. That's it, good job. Switch legs. Reach for that toe. If you can't touch your toe, that's okay. Just touch your knee. That's all right. For those of us who are a little more flexible, reach out and stretch as far as you can. There you go. Next stretch, cross leg, bend the other leg that's straight and sit into it a little bit. Stretches our glutes. You can really feel this in the back of your legs. Other leg, across, bend. You can scoot into it as much as you can. Big chest. Good job. Make sure you get some water. Way to go, everyone. Hydration tips. So our bodies are made up of 70% water, so drink water as often as you can. Carry a reusable bottle with you at all times. If you're thirsty, you're already probably dehydrated. Fruits and vegetables are a good source of water. Limit drinking soda, teas, and juices. They oftentimes dehydrate you. When you're feeling hungry, that is an indication that you need to drink some water. You're not always needing food. The easiest way to tell if you're hydrated is the color of your urine. It should be clear or slightly yellow. If it's dark, you're a little dehydrated.
And that concludes our lesson for today.
Kids, always remember hydration, hygiene, and be safe around water Keep in mind, 2, warm up and cool down before your activities.
And don't forget to have fun while doing it.
You've been watching Phoenix TV's Study Hall, brought to you by District 8 and our partners at Osborne and Roosevelt School Districts. Tune in Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for more Study Hall. I hope you learned something today and keep up the great work.